In the city of Nizhny Novgorod, Russia, there was a man who wandered alone among old and forgotten cemeteries. Silent, introverted, and obsessed. Historian, linguist, and cemetery expert Anatoly Moskvin. However, his real fame would not come from his academic achievements, but from a horrifying crime that would be etched into human history. When Russian police raided Moskvin's home in 2011, what they encountered was beyond the most terrifying nightmares. Inside his house were the mummified bodies of 29 young girls, whom he had exhumed from their graves. But these corpses were not just preserved. He had turned them into life-size dolls. They were dressed, adorned, and sitting lifelessly in his home. What was lurking in Moskvin's mind? What drove him to this gruesome act? And most importantly, how did he manage to live undetected for so long? Anatoly Moskvin was born in 1966. On the surface, he appeared to be a highly intelligent individual. He spoke 13 languages, had extensive knowledge of ancient civilizations, and was an academic expert on cemeteries. However, since childhood, he had a bizarre fascination with graveyards. A particular event in his youth changed his life forever. One day, while attending a funeral, the family of an 11-year-old girl claimed that he was spiritually married to their deceased daughter. From that day forward, young Anatoly became even more connected to the world of the dead. Over the years, he developed an obsessive interest in cemeteries and traveled to hundreds of graveyards to study their histories. According to accounts from his childhood friends, Moskvin was always seen wandering near burial sites, taking notes and sketching tombstones. But no one could have predicted how deep his obsession would go. Moskvin did not just visit cemeteries. He opened graves at night and removed the corpses. But his goal was not simple theft. According to Moskvin, these girls did not deserve to die, and he wanted to bring them back to life. After retrieving the bodies, he used mummification techniques to preserve them. But he didn't stop there. He dressed them in clothes, placed wigs on them, and even covered some of their faces with masks. The most disturbing part was that he inserted music boxes inside some of the corpses, so that when they were moved, they emitted mechanical sounds. For him, these children were not dead, just asleep. He threw birthday parties for them, talked to them, and even read them bedtime stories. He meticulously kept a journal detailing each girl's personality, their imagined conversations, and their favorite things. He truly believed he was rescuing them from their lonely graves. In 2011, suspecting that Moskvin was involved in grave robberies, the police raided his home. But what they found inside was far more horrifying than they had ever imagined. Officers discovered 29 mummified girls' corpses, placed on shelves covered with old newspaper clippings. These were all Moskvin's friends. The police were in shock. Moskvin, however, explained the situation as if it were completely normal. In his own words, "I saved these children. I don't feel alone with them. They are my family." Investigators also found stacks of books and research materials on Egyptian mummification techniques, as well as detailed maps of graveyards, showing which tombs he had already opened and which ones he planned to visit next. After his arrest, Anatoly Moskvin was brought to trial. However, the court ruled that he was mentally unfit. Instead of being sent to prison, he was placed in a psychiatric hospital, where he remains to this day. During the trial, experts described his condition as a severe form of necrophilia and schizophrenia. Some argued that his obsession stemmed from deep-seated childhood trauma. His parents, who lived in the same house as him, claimed they had no idea what was happening. The families of the exhumed girls were left devastated. Many demanded stricter laws for protecting cemeteries, fearing that other hidden grave robbers could exist. The revelation of Moskvin's crimes shocked Russia and the world. News channels labeled him the Cemetery Dollmaker, and tabloids sensationalized the case, making it a global horror story. Some psychologists attempted to explain his behavior, linking it to conditions such as anthropomorphization of the dead, where individuals believe corpses still possess emotions and souls. Others suggested it was simply a mix of loneliness and unchecked obsession. Despite the horrific nature of the case, some individuals oddly sympathized with Moskvin, believing he was merely a disturbed man who couldn't cope with reality rather than a malicious criminal. Many questions still remain unanswered. Was Moskvin truly convinced he was doing the right thing? Had he planned to steal more bodies? And perhaps most chillingly, could there be others like him, still operating in secret? Some conspiracy theories suggest that Moskvin may have had accomplices, but no evidence has ever surfaced. Others believe he was inspired by ancient burial rituals and wanted to create his own eternal resting place for these children. Regardless of the truth, his story remains one of the most terrifying and bizarre criminal cases in modern history. Moskvin's story is a chilling reminder of how obsession and isolation can lead to terrifying consequences. Even today, this case is considered one of Russia's most horrifying crimes. Was Anatoly Moskvin truly a monster? Or was he just a lost soul, trapped in the grip of insanity and loneliness? No matter the answer, his story has been etched into history like a nightmare that refuses to fade away.